Hey y'all. Today we have two main topics to get into. An exclusive from Stephanie Pettit at People magazine states what it was like working with Meghan on set of her new movie. We're going to talk about that exclusive and I'm going to give my opinion on that as well as the information provided. And then we also have to talk about the most recent update from Archewell Foundation. All that and more, so let's get started. Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we have two main topics that we're going to touch on. Meghan on set of her new movie, according to quote-unquote an exclusive. We'll get into it. And then also a new update from Archewell Foundation. But before we get into that, happy Veterans Day, everybody. Today is Veterans Day here in the US, and because of that, today's live premiere is dedicated to the Fisher House Foundation. I fundraise for them through live premieres and live streams several times throughout the year, particularly around holidays that center military and veterans. And today is no different. In honor of Veterans Day here in the US, I am running a campaign to donate and raise funds to Fisher House Foundation. So below the screen, you will see a generated link to donate or a little box that allows you to donate directly to Fisher House Foundation. Myself nor YouTube will receive any of the proceeds. Fisher House Foundation will receive 100% of your donation. So feel free to donate. This is also not limited or timed. I allow my campaigns for Fisher House to run all the time, 24 hours, no matter what. So that will never cut off. So if you want to donate now or later, you are always welcome to return to this video and do just that. So today we're going to jump into this article from People magazine about Meghan on set. Before we do, feel free to like, subscribe, and share. Let's get into this. Once again, this article is in People magazine. It's written by Stephanie Pettit and it's titled Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, jokes that she's rusty on the set of her new movie, as Insider says it was, quote, obvious that she had rehearsed. This is allegedly an exclusive, and you know that because they put the little red thing up there and everything. So let's see if it's an exclusive and if it's true. Meghan Sussex is excited to be back on set. The Duchess of Sussex is making her return to acting in the upcoming Amazon MGM Studios film Close Personal Friends, where she'll play herself in a small part. Meghan was photographed on the Pasadena, California set on Wednesday, November 5th, and an insider tells People she introduced herself as Meghan. Everything about her was very sweet and calm. She genuinely seemed excited to be on set, the insider adds. She was joking that she felt a bit rusty, but it was obvious that she had rehearsed and that it was a big deal for her to be back. She was great. Oh, I love to hear that. She had a very warm energy too. She was super pleasant to be around. People has reached out to the spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex for a comment. Close Personal Friends, starring, y'all listen to this lineup: Brie Larson, Lily Collins, Jack Quaid, and Henry Golding. I'm going to watch this regardless. The fact that they had sense enough to get Meghan involved, I was already going to watch it because of that alone. Now I am super excited. This movie will follow a couple who befriend a famous couple during a trip to Santa Barbara. That makes sense. I can kind of see where the connection might lie. After finding success in Hollywood, including working as a series regular on the legal drama Suits, Meghan stepped back from acting ahead of her 2018 marriage to Prince Harry. A studio source previously told The Sun, this is a massive moment for Meghan and signifies a return to doing what she truly loves. She has been swamped with offers, but this one felt right. You know what? Based on what I've heard, again, I don't know for sure. And this person could be a wackadoo. This could be anybody. This could be the person who runs the little street sweeper outside every other week. But who knows? It could be somebody credible. But what I will say is this sounds like a really cool project. And if it's anything like what they're describing, I can absolutely see why she felt like this would be cool. The source added that Harry is really supportive and quite simply wants Meghan to do whatever brings her joy. Now listen. I'm not saying they're making this up, but I am going to say this. It's a pretty safe bet that Prince Harry is supportive of Meghan because he's always really supportive of Meghan and she is always really supportive of him. But one thing I will say, earlier in the article, they said everyone involved is super excited and have been sworn to secrecy about her involvement. If that's the case, then whoever is being a chatty patty either didn't take the oath or said to hell with the oath. That is already kind of like, And the reason I know that they're not doing this with consent from either the studio or Meghan herself is because they're not showing their name. They're not telling who they are. So it could be anybody, which makes them, in my opinion, less credible. Also, the things that they are saying are things that one could safely assume and be right. Everyone who meets Meghan says she's very warm. Everyone who meets her says she's very kind. Everyone who's worked with her says she's always very prepared. None of these things would be surprises, nor are they worthy of an exclusive. I mean, they're very nice sentiments, but how true are they? I mean, I feel like we know they're true because that's how she operates. But how do we know they're true based on this person's experience? And the reason I question that is because I feel like this is a bit of a liberty to speak on Prince Harry's behalf. I think this is a me thing, and I think this is a me being married thing. But let me know if you understand where I'm coming from your place as well. As a married woman, when people speak on my husband's behalf to me, it bothers me. I don't know where that comes from. It upends me, like genuinely. And the same for him. I cannot stand when someone attempts to translate to my husband for me or vice versa. We have a pretty funny sense of humor, but we both have a very dry wit. And a lot of times we can kind of figure out without saying anything where the line is, like where's the joke that we're running with today. And sometimes because of our dry wit, people don't understand the humor. So we'll say like a random sentence and both bust out laughing, and it'll leave people kind of like, okay, because it ain't for you to get. But sometimes his humor or my humor, people will try to step in and explain. For example, I made a joke with my husband one time, and I swear this is going somewhere. I made a joke with my husband one time where I was doing my taxes and something happened that I had anticipated happening. And when it occurred, I said, see, I told you they was going to pull that or something like that. And me and him laughed and went on. He was like, you sure did. And we went on. When I turned back around, why did this woman who we had just met go, don't blame him. He didn't say that. He didn't and mind you, we both just met her. We were both looking at her like, have you lost your mind? That lady came to regret that. Anyway, with that in mind, like, first of all, that's just rude, but it's something about people who do that to couples. I feel like it's a subtle divide and conquer tactic. I genuinely don't like that. It's where people test the line of, is the union solid? Like, are you putting up a united front, where they try to do the whole thing like, oh, he didn't mean no harm. Oh, she was just saying. He doesn't need you to translate for me. He knows what I'm saying better than you or anyone else. We don't need a translator. So I genuinely dislike that. So the reason I'm bringing that up is this person clearly said they were sworn to secrecy, but they're talking to this publication anyway, and they're not using their name. So that means they did not get permission to go against their little oath, or they didn't take the oath at all. Sensing a little deception. That is making this witness a little less credible. Also, the things that they are sharing are pretty general things that are known about Meghan. She's very warm. She's very kind. She's very prepared. She's very friendly. She works really hard. You can probably bet all of those things will apply here, whether you are there or not. And lastly, because Harry is always supportive of her, we can assume that to be true as well. Here's why that's sticking out to me and why I use the analogy I used. If this person is speaking speaking off the record or giving an exclusive without giving their name, it's likely that they didn't get permission from the studio or Harry or Meghan. Well, Harry's not there, or Meghan. So to speak on Harry, who isn't actually working on the set, is crazy unless he was present. And even if he were present, it's unlikely that he would be available to the cast to interact with while they're working. And even if that is the case, the fact that they're not sharing their name tells me that whatever was exchanged between them isn't something that they would have given you the stamp of approval to share with the publication. And the reason I know that for sure is because if you felt confident in what you were sharing, and if you felt like it wouldn't get you in any trouble or you weren't violating or crossing lines, you would have shared your name. And two, if you knew Harry or Meghan well enough to share something like he's very supportive of her, like he said that to you firsthand, if you knew them well enough for them to speak to you so candidly, you would know them well enough to know that they would not consent to you speaking to a publication about them in this manner. I mean, if you know anything about Harry and Meghan, you probably know not to leak comments and stories. True or not, they speak for themselves and they prefer it that way. So if you knew them well enough for Harry to divulge how supportive he was of his wife, as if he said that to you directly, then you would know them well enough to know that this ain't it. I mean, it's nice to hear these sentiments, but these are things that we could have assumed. And so I hate to be a negative Nancy, but things like this jump off the page at me because you're saying you were sworn to secrecy. And then you're still saying that to People magazine. Like, how secret was this swear or sworn? How secret was this oath? Like, clearly you're violating somebody's oath. Two, if Harry wasn't there, how do you know he was supportive? And even if he was there, did he say he was supportive? Hell, he might have been there in protest. No, I'm joking. Clearly, that's not Harry's MO. He is very supportive of Meghan. But because we know that, sharing that as a quote unquote exclusive is like, okay, you just wanted some attention. How much did they pay you for this penance of information? Anyway, let's continue. Quote, I don't see it as giving anything up. I just see it as a change. She said at the time, it's a new chapter, right? And also keep in mind, I've been working on my show for 7 years. So we're very, very fortunate to be able to have that sort of longevity on a series. And for me, once we hit the 100 episode marker, I thought, you know what? I have ticked this box and I feel really proud of the work we've done there. And now it's time to, as you said, work as a team with you, which that was a really sweet statement. She made those comments in their engagement interview. Now, again, she didn't necessarily say she would never return to acting. One thing I will say is she said she did not see it in her near future when she was speaking with The Cut. She did say that, but that doesn't mean she meant in any capacity. As we know, she has deals with Netflix and they produced content, and she has been in that content as herself because a lot of it has been reality or documentary based. But this is also her showing up as herself. While this is an acting gig because she's operating in a fictional sense on a set, while this is an acting gig, I think when people asked her that question before, or what the takeaway was before, was would she be like a series regular or be the lead in a movie, like actually have a whole work day and see a project through from start to finish. I don't think that that's something that she would be willing to do. If she were, I'm going to eat it right up. I'm going to watch whatever you are in. I'm going to watch whatever you produce. I'm going to watch whatever you're part of in any capacity. So if you did go that route, hell yeah. I just don't see that as possible. And I think that was more so what she was referencing at that time. I don't think she meant I'll never be part of the entertainment industry. I just think she meant in the capacity that I was, that phase of life is over. And that's essentially what she said. So the fact that we're getting her in this capacity is such a treat because I thought these days were over. I am open to whatever the Sussexes want to put in front of me. I love their content. I'm going to stop shamelessly begging them publicly one day, but not today. I cannot wait for Live to Lead season 2. I cannot wait for Polo season 2. I want those season 2s now, and I genuinely hope we get them. But I love their content. I really enjoy it. And we do know that they are producing with Archewell Productions as well. So we have a lot to look forward to. This was such a surprise, and I'm super excited to watch it. Even if Meghan weren't in it, the way they've described this project sounds like something I would really enjoy. But the fact that she's in it, I know I'll enjoy it. So anyway, what do you guys think of this article? What do you think about these statements? Again, I'm not trying to run down on this person. They probably meant well. And they were probably just sharing something they thought the fans would want to know. And I think that's great. And I did want to know this. But also the things they shared are things we could have assumed, y'all. Like, that's something we could probably bet our last dollar on, that Meghan's going to show up and be nice. Meghan's going to show up and be prepared. Harry's going to be supportive. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Y'all let me know what your thoughts are on this project. Also, this is a very nice outfit. Y'all want me to do a Sussex style on this? Let me know. I like this whole look. The hair, the makeup, all of it. That shade of lipstick is also very pretty. Let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I get distracted. I love that shade. That's beautiful. That looks like a mauve. Anyway, we will do a Sussex style if you guys want to. Let me know in the comment section below. And now let's get to the update for Archewell Foundation. Once again, this update is coming to us from Archewell Foundation, which can be found at archewell.org, and it's titled Supporting Families Facing Food Insecurity. In a moment when families across the United States are struggling to put food on the table, Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have been supporting local communities affected by the growing hunger crisis and assisting local partners providing meals and relief to those in need. Now, as the crisis deepens and millions of Americans face food insecurity, they are bolstering those efforts at a larger scale, mobilizing support through their nonprofit organization, the Archewell Foundation, to help meet this moment. Across the country, food banks and community organizations are working tirelessly to fill the gap and stepping up to meet the need. At the Archewell Foundation, we believe that food is more than sustenance. It is dignity, stability, and care for one another. To support those affected, we are making emergency donations to local partners who are providing immediate relief. Now, here they have listed Food Bank of Santa Barbara County, Our Big Kitchen LA, Project Angel Food. Now, if y'all remember, Harry and Meghan have volunteered physically with Project Angel Food with delivering meals during COVID. Food Forward, Alma Backyard Farms, and Lyft. How can you help? They also have this addition at the bottom. Moments like this remind us that caring for one another is both a collective act and a personal choice. Whether through time, resources, or simple gestures of compassion, each of us can help ensure that no one faces hunger alone. Here are a few ways to support your community and be part of the response. Share what you can, gather others to help, show up for seniors, 100% on that, support local and national organizations, lift, Propel, Farm to People, Food Forward, Share Our Strength, and No Kid Hungry. I'm actually a monthly donor of No Kid Hungry, and I know that Misan Harriman is a big part of that organization, I believe. And then Feeding America, Meals on Wheels America, and Hunger Free America. Moments like this remind us of the power and resilience of communities and the responsibility we all share to care for one another. The Archewell Foundation will continue to support organizations that meet essential human needs with compassion, especially in times of fragility and uncertainty. We are inspired by our community, like you, and join you as we come together to show up and do good. Now, I kind of wanted to highlight this because, one, it's essential. And if you need this information, I definitely wanted to share that and help you obtain it. I also really enjoy that Harry and Meghan keep everyone in the loop of what they're working on as individuals, but also through Archewell Foundation. They are always contributing across the world to the needs of the world, not just here in America, but they were also donating and contributing and sending relief aid to Gaza. They send relief aid to Jamaica. They are consistently showing up where they can to do as much good as they can. And I think that's amazing. I had someone, I won't say their name, send me a message and a comment asking me, why didn't Prince Harry go to Jamaica, but he went to Ukraine? Now, in my opinion, the reason I really want to share this is because I've gotten a couple of questions like that before. And I find that to be kind of a weird question, considering while Harry and Meghan are very, very helpful and very generous, they are public figures, but they are not elected officials. So when they show up anywhere, it's on their own volition. It's because they want to. And they are only two people. And their organization is small but very mighty. They can't be everywhere. But I found that to be kind of crazy because sitting on the archewell.org website at the time, literally had been there for 4 days already when I got this comment, was Archewell Foundation's update detailing the relief aid that they were sending to Jamaica and offering several resources of how everyone could contribute and help. I also shared information from people with boots on the ground in Jamaica at the same time as we shared Prince Harry's efforts in Ukraine. And I think that kind of linear thinking is dangerous. I think it can create a scarcity mindset when there's already a scarcity of resources. And I think it's important to zoom out. While Jamaica is extremely important, Ukraine is important, Africa is important, Europe is important, America is important, South America is important. Every location, every place in the world, every country, every continent, every city, every state, everywhere will need aid at some point, in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Here in Dallas, Harry and Meghan they donated money for the Genesis Women's Center to get a new roof. They don't live in Dallas. As far as I know, they don't come here and hang out that often. I know Prince Harry has been to the Fort Worth Stockyards a number of times, and we know that they've been to Austin a number of times. We definitely know that they have been present at times of tragedy and crisis here in Texas. But what I mean is, they don't live in Dallas and they don't have a whole lot of super personal connections here in Dallas, but they showed up for Dallas. After we had those ice storms, I wasn't living here at that time. I was in Florida. But at the time we had those ice storms and the Genesis Women's Center roof caved in. Harry and Meghan did not miss a beat donating money for a new roof. How they even found out about it, I don't know. That just tells you how connected they are. But again, they are not the Dallas mayor. They are not our state governor wasn't our senator on his way to Mexico at the time? I can't remember. That was so long ago, but y'all tell me, wasn't that like the big hullabaloo at the time where our elected officials were skipping town and getting the hell out of Dodge? Harry and Meghan were showing up for us. And I share that to say, we saw that on MLK Day a couple of years ago, they provided food trucks for a number of organizations and charities in Atlanta and in LA. Every month, if you get on archewell.org or bywaysussex.com, you can see 1,000,001 things that archewell.org is working on, or the Archewell Foundation is working on. And that includes Jamaica. That includes Ukraine. It doesn't have to be either or. It doesn't have to be this or that, or this, then that. It can absolutely be, wow, I really appreciate these private citizens showing up for people in ways that even our elected officials are not doing. I think it's important to operate from a place of gratitude. And that doesn't mean accepting any and everything, but it absolutely means recognizing where responsibility truly lies. And I think when we see people who are highly visible and we get used to them showing up, we can somewhat displace responsibility on them to show up rather than appreciating that they show up, because they're showing up on their own volition with their own resources. Everything they are doing is something they chose to do. Nothing that Harry and Meghan have done nor donated has been mandated by any governing body, nor is it a requirement for the people they serve, because they are not elected officials. They don't have to serve anyone. The fact that they see service as universal and service as part of who they are, not what they do, but who they are. I think that's something we should appreciate. And so before we jump to antagonize them for not showing up in the ways we expect them to, and here's the craziest part about that, the thing that they were complaining about, Harry and Meghan through Archewell Foundation, had shown up for that situation. But that's beside the point. Even if they hadn't, just because they may or may not be showing up in the way that you see fit as a person does not mean that they warrant criticism. I'm not going to say you can't criticize them. You're an adult. I'm assuming if you're listening to me, you're probably an adult. You can feel however you want to feel. But just because you feel that way does not make it fact, nor does it make it right. Harry and Meghan show up for people and communities and places all the time that no one asked them to, because they wanted to. They're not required to. And if you feel like they're not showing up in the right way, then I want you to look up that location. And I'm assuming you live there or you have some kind of personal connection. And I want you to look up those elected officials. And then before you ask Harry and Meghan anything, I want you to direct your question and concern to those people. Now, as far as Harry going to Ukraine, Prince Harry and the Invictus Games Foundation have a very personal relationship with Ukraine. They have shown up for Ukraine. Ukraine is part of the Invictus Games family. They compete at the Invictus Games, and we are all fully aware of what happened with Yulia a couple of years ago. He is extremely invested in Ukraine, and I would never want him to upend that for any reason, nor does he have to. Him showing up for Jamaica through Archewell along with Meghan doesn't mean he can't go to Canada, doesn't mean he can't go to Ukraine, doesn't mean he can't go to India if he wants to. He's a human being. He doesn't have to pick or choose, especially being that he is not an elected official. And at the end of the day, Prince Harry lives here in America and he's a British royal. If you're not asking the royals why they're not showing up, why did you ask Prince Harry? And also, I just can't get over the fact that they were like, if he can go to Ukraine, why isn't he in Jamaica? Well, first of all, at the time they asked that, it was not advisable to travel to Jamaica. It was advisable to send resources. And that's exactly what they did. And they did that days before anyone even asked the question of where's Archewell. Archewell was already sending aid. And you can also extend that to World Central Kitchen as well. They are always showing up as well. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. I don't have to beat a dead horse. I do get a little disappointed when I see people who are well-meaning. Now, I'm not addressing trolls. They can go and live their life. But it does disappoint me a little bit when I see well-meaning people who are quote unquote squatties and supporters of Harry and Meghan kind of turn into the possessive fan base. It's okay to absolutely support and adore and love and be happy about them, etc. But I think it's important to remember that while they are public figures, they are not figureheads. They're human beings. Everything they do, although they do a lot, I don't ever want it to be missed that what they do is generous. And I think sometimes because we see them so often doing so much, we can get the impression that it's almost owed. And then there's an expectation, and then there's a bit of entitlement infused in that. And if we're not careful, we will have that entitlement. But I'm going to ask that you don't have more entitlement and expectations of Harry and Meghan than you do for your own governing bodies. I feel like that's misplaced responsibility and expectations. And I do feel like that's counterproductive. And it's one of those things kind of like when you have employees in a company and you have the lazy employee and you have the super, super hardworking employee and they get paid the same. Why would that super hardworking employee keep working if they realize their efforts are falling on deaf ears? They're not being appreciated. it's important, not that Harry and Meghan will fall under that, but the reason I use that analogy is because I've seen far too often how people can get used to you performing at a high capacity and get used to you showing up in a really great way to the point where they now only focus on you and they don't actually focus on the people who are responsible. It's kind of like, again, covering for your colleague when they fall short so that nothing gets missed. And now people expect you to always cover for them. And now your workload just increased, but your pay did not. And so I think it's important for us to all, myself included, if we ever get to the point where we feel like, well, where's Harry and Meghan? We need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, because that is bad for our health. It is imperative that we stay in a state of gratitude, and recognize the generosity of what Harry, Meghan, and the Archewell Foundation are doing, and then check ourselves when we feel entitled and say, they ain't got to do anything they don't want to do, because the people who are supposed to be doing it are not. Let's direct our focus at them. Because what Harry and Meghan do should be the cherry on top. It should be the foundation of the aid that they're receiving, because they're not the elected officials there. It's great that they're doing it, and I hope that they continue. But I don't want to get in a habit of bashing people for not doing things just because we expect them to when it isn't their responsibility. It's even crazier to bash them for doing things that we expect them to when they already did them. Seems like you're just looking for something to whine about. Maybe it's the fact that you just didn't want Harry in Ukraine. And I think you might want to check that, because that sounds a little xenophobic, and you might want to address whatever your issue is with Ukraine. I promise that's not Harry's issue. That's a you problem. So that's all I have on this topic. I want to share this segment in honor of Veterans Day. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, don't forget to leave me your comments on this update from Archewell Foundation. Thank you for watching the SharionSade channel. The live stream or video you're currently watching will resume right after this quick break. As many of you know, I'm an official groundbreaker for the Fisher House Foundation, meaning I live stream to raise funds for their organization. Fisher House Foundation builds comfort homes where military and veteran families can stay free of charge while a loved one is in the hospital. These homes are located at military and VA medical centers around the world. Fisher houses have up to 21 suites with private bedrooms and baths. Families share a common kitchen, laundry facilities, a warm dining room, and an inviting living room. Since inception, the program has saved military and veterans families an estimated $610 million in out-of-pocket costs for lodging and transportation. Fisher House Foundation also operates the Hero Miles program, using donated frequent flyer miles to bring family members to the bedside of injured service members, as well as the Hotels for Heroes program, using donated hotel points to allow family members to stay at hotels near medical centers without charge. The foundation also manages a grant program that supports other charities and scholarship funds for military children, spouses, and children of fallen and disabled veterans. They are also an official partner of the Invictus Games.
Because what we're trying to do here is not only help military families in their time of need, but also to honor their service. It's not just a roof over your head. That obviously is important. But the byproduct is what goes on inside the house. And so we've nurtured that. It's easy to sit down and talk to each other. The support system that happens in these houses, that's actually the brick and mortar that holds them together. And that starts with the Fisher House manager. And then it kind of works its way down to the families, and the families will come in, and then the other families will embrace them, and they become one big family.
There's a community, near and far, surrounding our servicemen and women when they deploy, and long after they come home. Because healing does not happen alone. It takes a village, and is for the village. And one of the most essential parts of the process is having people surround you who understand. To grow as one unit, to achieve limitless potential. To remind us above all else, in this international family, no one gets left behind. Because this is Invictus. We are Invictus. Together.
Thank you once again to the Fisher House Foundation for the amazing work you do on behalf of service members, veterans, and their families. I also want to take a moment to extend my deep gratitude for being accepted as a groundbreaker and allowing me to aid in fundraising through my live streams. Thanks to everyone who's watched my live streams or who's watching this on replay, those of you who have made donations, who've shared, or just helped expand the reach of the fundraiser in any way. And if you feel so inclined, you're also welcome to donate via super stickers, super chats, or by using the link below. Thanks again for watching. Now let's get back to the program. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. I think the phrase show up and do good is such a fitting motto for Harry and Meghan and the Archewell Foundation, because that's exactly what they do. But again, I encourage everyone to get familiar with Sussex.com and Archewell.org. Just stay in the loop about what Harry and Meghan are doing. If you don't have social media, I try to share as much as I can from Meghan and As Ever's social media. So for those of you who don't have it, you can still, stay in the loop. And I definitely try to keep up with Archewell.org and Sussex.com, but I still recommend just getting familiar with it. I find it to be very helpful, not just to know what they're doing and what they're working on, but also, like I said before, I use them as kind of like a vetting practice when I'm looking for someone to donate to or somewhere to volunteer. I like to check Archewell to see if they are already working with an organization that's working in the area that I'm looking for, not even just a physical and geographical location, but I mean the area, like the type of social issue that I'm looking to work in or work on. I look to see if they're already in connection with an organization, and I see that Archewell Foundation does a lot of work with a lot of great organizations, but they vet them very well. And so if they're working with them, then that seems like a good indicator that they might be somewhere I like to work with, i.e. Fisher House Foundation. That's kind of how I started working with them. Was because of Invictus Games Foundation, and so on. I also donate to the Halo Trust. I'm a judge for the Diana Awards. So things like that, it really does help when you have Harry and Meghan sharing all of their affiliations in that way. It helps you to get familiar with organizations who are also boots on the ground and doing other amazing things. So if you want to get involved, that's a great place to start. So that is all I have for you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. Once again, this live premiere is dedicated to the Fisher House Foundation and all of the service members, veterans, and their families all around the world, particularly those of you here in the U.S. since it is Veterans Day. And if you would like to donate to Fisher House Foundation, you may do so beneath the video. The Fisher House Foundation generated donation box. They receive 100% of whatever your donation is. I don't get a slice, and neither does YouTube. Thank you, YouTube, for providing that. Anyway, that's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. For those of you who are on Patreon, y'all got a new video today. It's not my typical video style. I was made aware of a TikToker who has well over 100,000 followers. And she just went rogue today or yesterday or at some point recently and just decided to let have on Harry and Meghan with a whole bunch of really false dichotomies, false equivalencies. Like, she was just kind of creating problems and misconstruing things Harry and Meghan had said and trying to bring them into modern day times and kind of have like a gotcha. And she couldn't have been more wrong. Now, this is someone I used to follow, heavy on the used to. I used to follow her for her fashion takes, but I was so disappointed in what I saw. And thanks to the mutual who sent that video to me, because they were like, I see that you're following this person, and I bet you wouldn't want to after you see this video. And you were right. Thanks for looking out for me. I really appreciate that. That is how you support people. But they sent that to me, and I definitely let her know personally how I felt about her statements. And I also provided receipts and facts, but I decided to have a whole conversation about it on Patreon, because it is something that I see perpetuated often, is this intentional obtuseness where people attempt to take what Harry and Meghan have said, misconstrue it into something else, bastardize the entire meaning behind anything they've ever said, and then create a whole different issue, an issue that they then argue with. And I'm like, okay, if Harry and Meghan didn't say that, then how are you debating it? That's not their fight, that's yours. But again, trolls of all kinds go to great lengths to try and discredit people who are doing wonderful things. It's just disappointing when those trolls turn out to be one of our own. It unnerves me. And by one of our own, I mean a content creator with a nice, reputable platform who've never really deep dived into this kind of muck before. But I was sure to meet her there. Hopefully this is her first and last time going that route. Anyway, road closed, detour ahead. Please don't come this direction again. But anyway, I posted that on Patreon. So for Patreon people, you have received that. I hope you enjoy the video, and I am looking forward to your commentary. Please let me know your thoughts. I shared the entire video that she posted, and I put it behind a paywall so that I don't platform her. So I wanted you guys to see it, but I didn't want to platform her. That's why it's not a public video. And then members, YouTube members, you guys received a video yesterday. So I hope you enjoy that video. I am looking forward to reading your commentary. That's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.